Hello everyone, I am CA Vibhuti Narang. Welcome to our channel VN Practical Destination. In today's video, I'll be teaching about the GST basic concepts, like when was GST being implemented, what is the definition of GST, what were the taxes which were being levied before the launch of GST, and what are the taxes which are still applicable after the arrival of GST. So before beginning the topic, we should understand what does GST stands for. So the full form of GST is Goods and Services Tax. As the name suggests, it's not good and service, it is goods and services. That means all types of goods and all types of services are being covered under this tax. This tax was implemented from 1st of July 2017. On this date, our Honorable Prime Minister launched the GST from midnight. Now, before proceeding to the definition of GST, as we all know that GST is an indirect tax. So whenever there is something indirect, you have an opposite of that, that is direct tax. In India, there are two types of taxation systems being levied in today's date. One is direct tax and the other is indirect tax. Before proceeding to the main definition, we'll understand the difference between the two taxes. The first is a direct tax. Let's suppose an employer is paying salary to an employee. Now what the employee is receiving money in cash or in any other terms in bank, whatever income he is earning, the person who is liable to pay tax on the earning by himself, that is the taxpayer, is directly paying tax on the income, then it is known as direct tax. And then what is indirect tax? Let's suppose the person is a customer, went to a showroom for purchase of a laptop. Now to purchase a laptop, he is paying the final price of the laptop, in which an amount of tax is also included. Now this customer is not paying that tax directly to the government. The retailer or the showroom person on behalf of this consumer is paying tax to the government. That is why it is known as indirect tax. For example, the laptop was of 50,000 rupees and GST charged on the laptop was 9,000 rupees. So the total amount of laptop turns out to be 59,000. So the tax collected by the taxpayer from customer. Now the taxpayer is the showroom person who will be paying tax on behalf of the customer to the government. So whenever there is a middleman or a third party involved and the tax is not directly paid by the taxpayer, then it is known as indirect tax. So now we'll understand what is the definition of GST. First of all, the first term is very clear that it is an indirect tax. Second thing, it is comprehensive in nature. Why comprehensive? Because it has tried to subsume many of the indirect taxes under it. The third point of the definition is that it is multi-stage. Multi-stage means it is being levied at every stage, that is in the supply chain, from the wholesaler to retailer, then to retailer to consumer, or from manufacturer to the wholesaler also. On every stage the GST is being implemented. Then it is destination based. Why? Because it is being charged by the ultimate consumer, so it is a destination based tax. And finally, on every value addition, means on the supply chain, whenever the goods are transferred from one person to another, or a service is provided from one service provider to the service receiver, on every value addition tax is to be levied. Now, what are the taxes which are included in GST? I have covered it into two types. One are the central taxes which are included after the implementation of GST, and what are the state taxes which are included after the implementation of GST. So after the coming of GST, now there is no more applicability of excise duty, that is on production, or the services tax, or the central sales tax. Similarly, VAT, entertainment tax, luxury tax, these taxes are not being implemented as of now. And what are the taxes which are not included in GST? The custom duty, or whenever we import some goods, whichever duties were being implemented earlier, as of now also these taxes are levied today also after the implementation of GST. If we talk about the state tax, whenever we purchase a car, we have to pay a road tax or a passenger tax. Besides that, we have an intercity traveling, we pay toll tax. Then we purchase a property, we pay stamp duty. For the maintenance of property, annually you need to pay property tax. So these taxes are still being levied there. That means after the implementation of GST, these taxes are not being subsumed and they are applicable in their own positions. Next thing is, what are the components of GST? Basically, there are three components but divided into two parts. Whenever there is an intra-state sale, we levy CGST and SGST. CGST is Central Goods and Services Tax and SGST is State Goods and Services Tax. And whenever there is interstate sale, we levy IGST. First of all, we need to understand what is intra-state sale. Let's suppose we have a shop which is located in the state of Maharashtra and the consumer is also from Maharashtra. So whenever the location of the supplier and the place of supply, these are very technical terms which we can study in other or later videos. For now, you can understand, for the basic understanding, whenever there is a sale within the same state, or you can say there is a supply within the same state, we levy CGST and SGST, that is Central Goods and Service Tax and State Goods and Service Tax. For example, the sale by the shopkeeper to the consumer was of 10,000 rupees, on which CGST and SGST is levied at the rate 6%. I'll just keep in mind one thing. Whenever there is CGST and SGST, when we come to IGST, that is Integrated Goods and Services Tax, it is the total of CGST and SGST. And if we have IGST in front of us and we have to calculate CGST and SGST, so it will be equal to half. Means if it is 12%, it will be 6%. If IGST is 18%, CGST and SGST will be 9%. Next, what is interstate sale? Now the shopkeeper is of Maharashtra but the consumer is from a state Gujarat. So whenever there is a sale or a supply outside the state, then it is known as interstate sale and IGST is levied. In the previous example, CGST, SGST was 6% and now we have the IGST as 12%. So the final answer is 11,200 rupees. Now we'll understand. I have divided the pre-tax GST era and post-tax GST era. In pre-tax GST era means before coming up of GST, how the supply chain was managed and what were the taxes being levied at that time. In this also I have divided it goods and services different, and after coming of GST, how the taxes are being levied for goods and services different. So in my first case, we have local sale of goods, that is every time the sale of goods in the supply chain will be within the same state. Let's suppose we have located in the state of Maharashtra. Now this whole manufacturer sell the goods to a wholesaler which is again located in Maharashtra. Before the coming of GST, excise, that is on manufacturing, we were compulsory supposed to pay excise duty, and as the sale was within the same state, VAT was being levied. Now this wholesaler sells the goods to a retailer which is again in Maharashtra. Then we have to levy VAT. And when the sale is done to the ultimate consumer which is again in the state of Maharashtra, then also VAT was being levied, that is pre-tax GST era. If I talk about pre-tax GST era but central sales of goods, means every time, or you can say most of the times, the sale in the supply chain is not within the same state. Now your manufacturer is in Maharashtra but your wholesaler is located in Gujarat. So excise was mandatory. Along with that, you were supposed to pay central sales tax. When the wholesaler sells the goods to the retailer, now retailer is located in Haryana. Both are now not in the same state. We have to pay CST. When the retailer sells the goods to the consumer and consumer is located in a state Delhi, then also we were supposed to pay CST, that is central sales tax. Now if I talk about the pre-tax GST era and if the service is provided, let's suppose there is a CA, there is a service provider located in the state of Maharashtra. Now this service provider is providing a service to a client which is located in Maharashtra. So there was service tax being charged earlier. And let's suppose this service provider of Maharashtra is providing service to a client which is located in Gujarat, then also service tax was being levied. That means in the case of before the implementation of GST, there was no differentiation in services. Means if the service was provided within the same state or outside the state, service tax was being implemented. Now we'll understand what was done after the implementation of GST. If we talk about the post-tax GST era, and there is local sale of goods. Now local sale of goods, let's suppose again the Maharashtra manufacturer selling to a wholesaler again located in Maharashtra, we are supposed to levy, as this is an intrastate supply or an intrastate sale, we are supposed to levy CGST and SGST. And this wholesaler is selling goods to a retailer in Maharashtra. So we are supposed to levy CGST and SGST, and this retailer again selling to a consumer in Maharashtra, then also CGST and SGST. So in all the three cases, same tax is to be levied. If I talk about post-tax GST era and central sales of goods, again the manufacturer of Maharashtra supplying to a wholesaler of Gujarat, now it is an interstate supply or an interstate sale of goods, and we will be implementing or we will be applying IGST will be charged on such supply. The wholesaler is selling goods to a retailer which is located in Haryana, then again it is IGST which is to be charged, and retailer selling to a consumer in Delhi, then also IGST is to be charged. If I talk about services, now there is a bit of difference. If the service is provided by a service provider to a client or a service receiver located in the same state, then we will be levying CGST and SGST. But if the service provider is providing service to a service receiver or a client located outside the state, that is interstate supply is there, then we will be levying IGST. So there is a difference between the pre-tax and the post-tax GST era in such case. So this was all about the basic tax structures which is being followed right now. Now we'll be discussing what is the meaning of output and input. I have done this to a very simple example. Let's suppose this person is a seller and this person is a buyer. Now the seller is selling goods to a buyer. Whenever the seller is providing goods or supplying of services, then he is supposed to pay output GST, and whenever the buyer is receiving the goods, he has to pay input GST, or for the buyer the term is input GST. What is GST payable and GST credit? Whenever your output GST, that is your GST on sales, is more than your input GST, that is your tax paid on purchases and expenses, then it is a case of payable, that is your GST is payable. For example, we have an output of 2000 rupees, that is tax on sales is 2000 rupees, and the taxes on expenses or purchases is 1000 rupees, which is your input. So you have a net payable of 1000 rupees, and in this case when you have an amount of payable, then you have to prepare a challan. What is GST credit? Whenever your input is more than output, that is your tax on purchases and expenses is more than your tax on sales, then it is a case of GST credit. Let's suppose the output is 4000 rupees and input is 5000 rupees. So this is not a case of payable because your output is less than your input, so you have a credit of rupees 1000, and in such case when you have a credit means you do not have to pay anything to the government, so no challan is prepared, and this credit is to be carried forward in your next tax period. Now the topic covered in this video is also available as the concepts part on my website, which is vnpracticaldestination.com. You can register or log in to the website, which is free of cost. Once you log into the website, you get access to the course outline or the course content. In this course outline GST part 1, we have all the concept parts which are covered by me in today's video. So for any theoretical or conceptual knowledge, you can refer to these topics in detail. Besides this, I also teach online as well as offline on the practical training of these subjects. So if you are really interested, you can join for these classes in my practical training courses. If you really like the video, then please like the video and subscribe to my channel for latest updates. Thank you very much.